Hello, my name is Darren, and this video is going to be a little different. That's because in 3 months, a new DLC will release for my favorite roguelike game, called The Binding of Isaac. In case you don't know, the DLC for this game, Repentance, is coming out on March 31st. And if you don't know what The Binding of Isaac is, it's a roguelike created by Edmund McMillen. And if that name sounds familiar, that's because he created the game Super Meat Boy, which is another popular game. I'll explain some of the lore of the game, a cutscene that shows in the beginning when you start up the game.
Isaac and his mother lived alone in a small house on a hill. Isaac kept to himself, drawing pictures and playing with his toys as his mom watched Christian broadcasts on the television. Life was simple, and they were both happy. That was until the day Isaac's mom heard a voice from above. "Your son has become corrupted by sin. He needs to be saved." "I will do my best to save him, my lord," Isaac's mother replied, rushing into Isaac's room, removing all that was evil from his life. Again the voice called to her. "Isaac's soul is still corrupt. He needs to be cut off from all that is evil in this world and confess his sins." "I will follow your instructions, Lord. I have faith in thee," Isaac's mother replied, as she locked Isaac in his room, away from the evils of the world. One last time, Isaac's mom heard the voice of God calling to her. "You've done as I've asked, but I still question your devotion to me. To prove your faith, I will ask one more thing of you." "Yes, Lord, anything," Isaac's mother begged. "To prove your love and devotion, I require a sacrifice. Your son Isaac will be this sacrifice. Go into his room and end his life as an offering to me to prove you love me above all else." "Yes, Lord," she replied, grabbing a butcher's knife from the kitchen. Isaac, watching through a crack in his door, trembled in fear. Scrambling around his room to find a hiding place, he noticed a trapdoor to the basement hidden under his rug. Without hesitation, he flung open the hatch, just as his mother burst through his door and threw himself down into the unknown depths below.
If you couldn't tell, this game has a lot of religious references. In fact, the whole idea of Isaac, his name and story, is in part inspired by the story of Isaac, which I don't know a lot about the Bible, so don't murder me, please, where God has told a father he must rid his son of sin, and that means he'd have to kill his son. Now that you're caught up, I want to fully appreciate just how amazing this game is. The first character you'll be able to use from the get-go is named Isaac. He starts out with a bomb, and that's really about it. The way you get new items, such as passives or spacebar items, is through treasure rooms. They're marked with a gold door and a crown. There are around 341 items that you can obtain in total, which makes this game very replayable. With all of these items, there are over 100 possible synergies you can make with these items. For example, if you wanted to shoot bombs out that when explode drop even smaller bombs that when exploded shoot shrapnel out, and when they hit enemies they shrink the enemies to about a size where you can step on them, that's something that you can do in this game. That's why it's so great. My personal favorite synergy is Spoonbender and Brimstone. Spoonbender being a passive item that allows projectiles to home in on your enemies, and Brimstone is a big blood laser and when combined can clear rooms very quickly. As you play, you'll also unlock starting items, which are items that is exactly what the name entails. You can use them right as you start the game. Next, I'd like to touch on the soundtrack, which is absolutely phenomenal and fits with the game almost perfectly in most cases. In fact, it's in like my top 5 favorite soundtracks in video games. Here's a clip of my favorite soundtrack called Chorus Mortis. It has no words, yet it matches the intense and somewhat holy aspect to the game. And once you listen to the soundtrack even more, you'll understand the religious undertones in the song. It makes you think of a white corridor that maybe you'd see in a church or something. It's quite amazing, actually. I'm not someone who would go crazy over a game's soundtrack. In fact, there's only 2 other games that I do that for. That's Borderlands and Undertale. But no soundtrack has really clicked with me like this one has. In fact, I don't think I've ever heard a game soundtrack fit so perfectly with their own game like this one has. The best part about this game, in my opinion, is the achievements. As with almost every roguelike, achievements are linked to specific unlockable items or characters. For example, Azazel is unlocked by making 3 deals with the devil in one run, thus giving you an achievement as well as the character. There are many different achievements, and that number goes up significantly with the other 2 DLCs. Afterbirth and Afterbirth Plus, DLCs that add way more to the base game, to the point where it feels like an entirely different game. More items, more characters and achievements, as well as entirely different modding capabilities. You see, the base game has almost no modding resources, and that's kind of disappointing. In fact, you kind of have to pay $20 more just to be able to play with mods. That part I really don't like about this game. With these new changes to the modding capabilities, you can create entirely new bosses, items, enemies, characters, whole floors and rooms, etc. Of course, with any game, there comes ups and downs. Like multiplayer in this game, it's god awful. If you're looking for a multiplayer experience, a roguelike multiplayer game, do not play this, because this multiplayer is almost non-existent. It's local co-op, where only one player controls Isaac while another player controls these things. Yeah, it's not great. Not only do you have 1 heart, but it takes 1 heart away from the main player. And the babies may look cool, but I assure you, the look has nothing to do with their performance or any effect or anything like that. Further cements my hatred for babies. Stomp them into the fucking ground. There is 0 multiplayer. Not even mods can fix this. Hopefully with Repentance they actually add online multiplayer. What this game lacks in multiplayer and other things that it doesn't have, it definitely makes up for it in looks and graphics. This game might be the most well-optimized game I've ever played. It runs good on even laptops that are around 5 years old. And it runs good on top of that. With it being so optimized, you'd think that they'd cut down on some of the graphics or particles, but no, the game still looks really. If you couldn't tell, the game in the background is actually The Binding of Isaac, and you can clearly see there that was my really video essay. The particles and item sprites are video wasn't amazing. Meant to I don't think this game gets enough credit for its sprites and how much I liked it and what I liked about it. It's quite creative and pretty fun to look at. If you're looking for a challenge and you've mastered other roguelikes like Enter the Gungeon, then this game is definitely for you. Even with my over 100 hours in this game, I'm still dog shit awful. The game even comes with preset challenges that you can play that give you specific items that make the run either harder or fun. Even if you're not good at the game, the challenges are still fun. A lot of them give you specific items, and it's fun to play around with them. At the end of the day, the whole pack costs around $24, with the base game only being $14, so if you're looking for a fun, quick game, then you could probably just go for the base game without getting the DLCs. But if you're heavily into roguelikes, then the DLCs and the base game is a must-have. It's worth every dollar. I've mentioned a lot of religious undertones and references within this game, and don't get me wrong, there are a lot of them, but don't be discouraged. While it does seem like it's heavily focused on a small religious minority of people who play games, I can assure you 100% that no self-respecting Christian would play this game. At some points, it even kind of mocks religion. I don't shame people who believe in religion, but it's kind of funny to see. And that was my video essay of The Binding of Isaac. This video wasn't meant to convince you to buy the game or anything. I just wanted to say how much I liked it and what I like about it. Don't walk away from this video thinking that I'm trying to get you to buy something. This is in no way some promotion or anything. I'm just trying to point out what I really like about this game. If you like this short essay, then cool, I guess. I'll probably do more videos like this, probably on games like Minecraft or games that I've played on my channel.